Dames, I'm back with my agenda. Never follow rules, I want my funeral magenta. Just to piss off all my fucking homophobic relatives. Growing more imperative that I control my narratives. So I spit fire through this pop filter. La la, you got to have the Zaza for me to shop with you. Raising my rates and I'll control face. But if you fuck with me, I bring your fucking life to a stop quicker. I'm in your throat like some hot liquor. Roll through your hood like a drop sugar. Hands like a stock filter. I think if I was straight, then maybe I would pop quicker. Playing the lotto, I'm on the reposado. Can't be in my vicinity if you possessing maybes. Or fragile masculinity like Boosie tip a baby. It's crazy cause the very clothes you're wearing was designed by the same group of people used to trying to keep behind. You ain't worried about the kids, you just use them as a shield to hide behind the bigotry of how you really feel. Ain't no think pieces in emails as long as it's some females that's kissing in the backseat. And you can check my rap sheet. I'm running circles around these washed up rappers like a track meet. Been flexing like an athlete. I'm jigging to the backbeat. Work selling them the trap meet. And my niggas back heat. Suggest to keep it cool before they bust and make it happy. And I ain't even really scratched the surface. Defeat the self-doubt, don't defeat the purpose. Make sure you got it or you won't complete the purchase. A man without a plan is like a clown without a circus. That's Dames, he go crazy on the mics and shit. Rolling blunts super straight on the pipes and shit. Flat ass with the fucking tiger stripes and shit. I get faded, grab my pen and then I write some shit about this crazy world we living in. My homies steady giving in, the doors steady kicking in. I never care about fitting in. No whipping the E-class, that motherfucker speed fast. I caught me a peach pass and reach for my weed stash. All sports teams, but I'm ballin', nigga. Better have a money move if you callin', nigga. It's my time to shine and you know I'm stallin', nigga. Dames going up, ain't that shit appallin', nigga. I ain't even really in my prime yet. But I just been grinding like the time said. Mindset, I'm the fucking money, not a bitch though. I can tell you broke, but I ain't never been a snitch though. Came up on cassettes and CDs on the block. I don't smoke no cigarettes, but the trees stay in stock. It's the D-A-M to the I-E-N. And if I stand out, nigga, why be in? It's motherfuck the cops and motherfuck the ops. My niggas got good credit, we talking trades and stocks. I'ma always keep it real, that's what I get from my pops. They'll give me a fucking bullet before they give me my props. I got this war in my mind, I don't know who winning. All this Patron in my body and my head keeps spinning. Yo, how I'ma get to heaven? I mean, if I keep sinning, that's where life will drive you crazy, man. Just keep living. I ain't even really scratched the surface. Defeat the self-doubt, don't defeat the purpose. Make sure you got it or you won't complete the purchase. A man without a plan is like a clown without a circus. Dames, and I ain't even really scratched the surface. No, defeat the self-doubt, don't defeat the purpose. Make sure you got it or you won't complete the purchase. A man without a plan is just a clown without a circus. Dames. Hip-hop. This rap shit is just in me.
I took a hit for the team. Took a bullet for the dream that we would one day all be free. Free from prejudice, free from sexism, free from bigotry. I die for creativity. I die for freedom to be free. I died and left a legacy. Oh, but baby, I still live through technology. The sun will start shining.
What is going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hello, 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 and good morning. Good Monday morning, okay? Y'all, I had a live that was kind of planned for like 10 o'clock last night, but y'all, I had to get some rest. I'm sorry. I'm still recuperating from Saturday, okay? Again, my social battery is not that, girl, it's not iPhone, okay? It's Obama phone, okay? It's doesn't last that long, so I'm still recharging, okay? Because I'm still going to keep my promise. I think people don't understand that about me. And shout out to my new subscribers. I'm almost close to 770. I have 768, so we have some new subscribers. I don't know if they'll be here after this commentary, but that's fine. Because I'm going to speak what is objective truth. And one thing that I've said and that I will do as a same gender loving man, especially a same gender loving man of color, I'm going to keep my foot on the neck of queer-phobia. I don't give a fuck how covert it is, how much you paint it up to look nice. I'm going to call it out. But I'm also objective enough, okay, to also understand certain truths that the other side might have if it is truthful. And here we are with yet another live, girl. I already told you, it's one person I'm going to always keep my promise with. It's a few more that I'm starting to give that promise to, girl, because y'all can't start these conversations and then feel some type of way when people try to get y'all to continue these conversations. Because when it's time for the motherfucking showdown, girl, when it's time for everybody to sit down and really get into it and have, quote unquote, the conversation, girl, what's that one mean? How come every time when I'm not around, you want to do this, but when I come around, you don't want to post up? So just say what you've been saying about me to my face since I'm here. And then when that happens, girl, oh, now we have to work together. And now we have to worry about the community. And we all have a common enemy. Okay, well, a lot of queer people have been trying to get y'all to understand that as well. Seems like there's a certain group of people who are lacking in their shit. No shade. But anyway, good morning, Ron. I hope you're doing well. Good morning, Let's Talk a While. Good morning to those in the bushes. We're going to be here for a while, girl, because one thing about BubzDaGawd, we do lengthy lives, but we actually break shit down that gives us more credibility to speak on certain things. And this also solidifies my work ethic, girl. The race is not given to the swift nor the strong, but to those who endureth till the end, girl. Okay? So, we're going to listen to yet again our residential baldhead hotep preacher, girl. LANCESCURV has released another video, girl. And like I said, I'm keeping my promise. Some people might think that it's stalking. Some people might, and listen, people going to say what the hell they want to say any goddamn way. Okay, I know what it is. And for individuals who actually watch my commentary and my lives, like I watch theirs, the entire thing, if they would listen, they would understand that. But of course, when people see their name in the title or they're tagged in a video or a live and it's not fitting to their identity and how they feel about their identity, when someone's just literally calling out the ignorant viewpoints and perspectives instead of actually challenging themselves, it would just be easier to say that you're a hater and you're this and you're that. And it'd be like, girl, no shade. What is there for me to hate on? No shade. I still have my hairline, thank the Lord. I'm getting some miracle drops. I'm dropping that shit in every day. Okay? As you can see, I have locks, like little baby locks growing. Okay, but I also understand the importance of the older generation and the current generation and even the newer generation bridging the gap. There has to be the bridging of the gap here. And people love talking about community, but they're not willing to listen to the people who are actually in the community. And contrary to what people believe or want to believe, there are queer people who are a part of the community. And just like them nosy ass, old ass ladies in the hood that know everybody motherfucking business, bitch, I'm on that same energy. What is y'all over here talking about? What's going on? Where is the neighborhood watch? So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to LANCESCURV going back down memory lane, okay? I stumbled across this photograph. It kind of made me laugh because I had a full head of hair back then. All right? And we're going to listen to that while I play Far Cry 5 again for the second time. So if you hear my controller in the background clicking and clacking, that's me shooting people and shooting animals and all type of shit. Okay? Because I have to get through this live somehow, especially this early in the morning, and especially since this live was not planned. I just listen to stuff and it just hits my spirit. I'm like, oh, okay. So before we get into that, let me grab my phone. Hold on. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Ooh, lordy. Where we at? Boom, okay? Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, which we're going to give, comment, I mean, this is slightly a commentary channel, news reporting, teaching, most definitely, scholarship, of course, we have the research, education and research, girl. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use. Tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, so we're not going to go back down memory lane. All right, while Lance tells us how he remembers the good old days where men and women knew their place. There was no confusion. Yes, they were still human, and motherfuckers were still breaking hearts, and daddies was still being, and papas was still being Rolling Stones and shit like that. And there's a whole bunch of what's love got to do with it. And we knew that grandmama stuck with granddaddy, even though granddaddy was having 2 or 3 different families and stuff. But at least in that day, there was this unspoken rule of togetherness. Even though it was toxic as fuck, there was still this close sense of togetherness. So it was this trauma bond that was happening back in the day too. But we became codependent on the trauma bond to where grandma had no choice but to stick with her man. What is she gonna do? And we're living in a world now where people are starting to actually live and not just fucking survive. Because when I'm surviving, that means, girl, I have to do with whatever the fuck is around me. I have to, work with what I got. We not, girl, we free. At least I am. And especially if you free yourself mentally and emotionally. That's when you start to free yourself to walk in your truth. And no shade. The whole fucking world is falling apart. Everybody feels some type of way. Everybody's scared. Everybody has this doomsday idea of what's going to happen. So are we going to sit here and just contemplate on it? Or are we actually going to try to do something about it? Because if the same group of people who are trying to rise and ascend are like in the same fucking spot they were decades ago, centuries ago, there's a problem and an issue with that. Where is our power? And our power for real? And I actually do my goddamn research. Because again, like I said, in my opinion, since everybody has opinions and perspectives, we are in the energetic field of the 60s and the 70s. We are literally there. We are literally the fuck there. And we're also seeing what happens when we allow history to repeat itself. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, okay? And if we actually gonna do the work, then let's do the goddamn work. Like, let's actually sit down. So I'm going to stand on the tallest fucking ladder that I have, bitch. Just wait. And I'm gonna scream from the mountaintops, what about the community? all these black people who understand racism and all this type of stuff, it can have some sort of objective understanding when in the gray area when it concerns them. I'm gonna need for y'all to have that concern energy, not just for you, but for the fucking community. And it's going to be difficult. And there's no one live that is going to surmise everything, create a summary of everything. This is going to have to be an ongoing, continuous type of thing. And I'm going to do my part. So for some people, I might appear to be a nuisance, but goddamn it, y'all the one that started this shit. Don't be upset when people come through and finish it. And I also want to say this. Just like how the world is evolving, there are queer people who are also with the shit too. There are queer people that have the same access to certain shit that you have in reference to self-defense, girl. Whether it be physically on this tangible reality or whether it be in the spirit realm, girl, you're not the only one, baby. This is revealed and available for all of humanity, regardless of what you believe or who you believe should have access to it or not. Okay. Let's get into it, y'all. Is y'all ready? Or is y'all ready? Now, if y'all hear me back here cussing and shit, like I said, I'm playing Far Cry 5. And on here, not only do you have to worry about humans, you have to worry about all type of animals. Bears and shit. Skunks. Mole rats. Wolves and shit. Eagles. Snakes. Just all type of wildlife trying to fuck you up. Okay? Anyway, let's get it. Okay, girls, you playing? Oh, okay, hold on. I might have to. Okay, that's okay. Hold on one second, y'all, because I removed my my external hard drive. Cause, girl, I ain't trying to put a lot of shit on my goddamn this damn laptop computer. So, give me one moment, okay? One moment. Y'all look at this older lady getting upset and mad. All right, I'm back. I had to fix it, y'all. I had to fix it. Yes, Miss Lily is hilarious as hell. I love her. This video, oh my God, I'd be crying off this video. Anyway, y'all. Girl, let's get into LANCESCURV's thoughts, y'all.
I miss the days when women and men knew their place. It was a different world back then, growing up in New York City.
Right.
Yes, we had racism. And we had drugs. We had wars. We had the haves and the have-nots. We had crooked politicians and great boxing matches and baseball games. No matter what neighborhood you went to, the middle-class people took care of their lawns. They greeted their neighbors, whether they liked them or not. When we got to the job, all different races would have to grin and bear their differences and work along because the dollar treated everybody the same.
Wow.
I remember those days.
Okay, if we're going to be honest, those days are still the same days. Like, racism is still here. Like, this is not anything new. I'm trying to understand how those were the days. What do you mean those were the days? That's just me. That's just me. That's just me.
They contradicted themselves oftentimes, but compared to today,
Sometimes.
I just
Oh, wow.
don't know.
Wow.
I'm not living in the past, and I never wanted to be an old man who was living in the past. But I do understand and feel that you can understand where I'm coming from. Boy, the way Glenn Miller played
Uh-oh.
songs that made the hit parade.
Okay.
Guys like us, we had it made. Those were the days. And you knew who you were then. Girls were girls and men were men.
Oh, Lord.
Mister, we could use a man like Herbert Hoover again. Didn't need no welfare state. Everybody pulled his weight.
Right.
Gee, our old LaSalle ran great. Those were the days.
Sing it. You better sing it.
I remember when that show came on, how old I was.
Oh, shit.
The other shows that came on that I could relate to a lot more, the Jeffersons, Good Times. The other shows that came after, That's My Mama. I can go on and on
Don't
and on
make me
and
break
on.
my foot off in your ass.
But even those shows,
That's my white
like All in the
mama.
Family, who had a lead character like Archie Bunker, who we know was the type of racist that
Okay, now this is very important what he says. In every other commentary, when somebody is giving a critique on what he speaks about in reference to queerness, he brings up, well, how can queer people sit up here and talk about racism and all this other type of stuff and whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. But look at how he's going to try to sit here and try to humanize the racist person. Archie Bunker. Yes, because I remember there was an episode on All in the Family that was very overtly racist. And again, that's what's hurting the black community more than anything else, right? Oh, that and homosexuality, right? And then all the time, oh, well, why are queer people equating their struggle to the black struggle? But meanwhile, you're about to sit here and try to humanize this racist person who, once you worked through the whole racist bullshit and the lines of division that are put in place to keep people arguing with each other and fighting against each other, when you sit down and actually get to know somebody and talk to them, you realize that you guys probably have a lot of similarities. So it's interesting that that can be done for the racist person, but yet for queer people, it's too much because I don't want that gay shit on me. And then on top of that, it always be no shade, in my opinion, because look, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But when it comes to a lot of these people that I give commentary on, I be blind to the bullshit. I be blind. I be Helen Keller, girl. I don't see, hear, smell, taste, touch. None of the senses are working in that capacity. It is literally about creating community. Because if you go look at the actual video that he put up, there's a banner, and I looked at the banner and I said, is this a South African pageant or something? Because there are also cisgendered women who look beautiful and that are gorgeous, and they were all melanated. Come to find out, his backdrop or thumbnail were drag queens. So I said, here we go. Here we go. But, and like I said, I'm all about being honest. I'm all about being honest, and I'm all about giving people their props. There are some things that he does say in this video that I do agree with. Because once again, I'm not no hating ass nigga. I ain't no stalking ass nigga either. I just said whenever somebody uploads some shit and I discover it where they speak about queerness in a negative way that is not objective, that is not supported by facts or anything they can pull up, and they're speaking generally about queer people, especially in the fucking social climate that we're in today, yeah, we're gonna have to be a little bit more careful. Because over in Uganda, remember I kept talking about Uganda and how they had this whole anti-queer kill the gays bill? Well, guess what? 2 people have just been arrested for aggravated homosexuality. And again, that bill was inspired by a Christian group. So, I mean, come on here. We have to pay attention to what's going on. But anyway, let's listen to how he's going to... Wait, before we do, let me look at Ron's comment. Ron says, the Jeffersons was the spinoff of All of the Family. George and Wheezy were the bunkers before they got rich and moved to the east side in the deluxe apartment in the sky. Okay? The Bunkies were neighbors. Wow. See, I didn't know that because I really didn't watch All in the Family like that. I watched Mama's Family. Now that shit was hilarious. Mama's Family. But anyway, let's listen to how now this whole soliloquy and stuff we've given about racism and how it's affecting the black community. Now we're going to sit here and humanize the racist person. Which, I mean, ain't no problem with that because they're still human beings too. But like, can we start humanizing everybody? Or those who are in tap or in touch with their humanity? Let's continue.
Still punked out when it was time for him to face it and move forward.
So you would...
He was the kind of guy, like many white men that I knew, who were raised up in ignorance and were even...
Now listen to how he speaks about the ignorance, girl, and it's kind of like, oh, is this foreshadowing?
Comical with it. There's one character who owned a gym that I trained in, and he was the closest thing to Archie Bunker that you'd ever want to see. But he stayed true to who he was, even though he was misled. And in actuality, I got to know him really good. I won't say his name. I won't bring any disgrace to his name. But those who know me know him very well. He was just raised ignorant. But the bottom line is, in lots of our conversations that I had with him, I found a lot in common, to be honest. He worked hard. His father helped him to get the gym.
Right.
He wasn't rich.
Right.
He made a lot of bad mistakes.
Right.
And if you know that picture of me winning the 1982 National Teenage Mr. America, he was the one who sponsored the free gym membership, supplements, different stuff. He knew my parents. He was the one that drove me and other competitors up to Utica, New York that day in October 9th and 10th, 1982.
That's awesome.
Puerto Rican, another black man, me as a black man and him. And we all shared a hotel room. And I could tell you, you couldn't find a better brotherhood than that, even with our differences. But now we move forward to today. The differences are so stark. The differences are off the scale. Call me old school if you want. I don't know what world I'm in anymore. Maybe I'm too old for this world. Maybe that's what made it easier for me to move to West Africa to live. Because at least while certain things are there festering under the rock, it's not in your face.
Wow. So regardless, it's still there. Whether we want to stick our heads in the sand like fucking ostriches Andrew called me. Andrew Caldwell trying to ride my tongue, y'all. Stop it. But even though, okay, let me pause this, girl, because I ain't trying to down this game. Listen, what you're experiencing, Lance, if you actually talk to other people, a lot of people are experiencing that. It's called an ego death. There are a lot of people like myself who are fed up with the way that the world is now and wants there to be some sort of change. And the gag is that a change is happening. 2020 came through and Ricky remixed the shit in so many different ways. This is not the time to motherfucking back out of what you're called to do. If anything, this is go time. At this point, especially when it comes down to blackness, nobody gets to sit on the bench. Everybody has a skill and a talent or something that they can bring that contributes not only to themselves, but to humanity as well. It is very much possible. But we're going to have the conversations for real. And that's why I don't understand when there's a lot of older people who don't want to talk. Because when you look at shit from the 60s and 70s, black people were able to sit down from different delegations, different perspectives, different viewpoints, and actually come together. There are people who believe that we can change things from the inside out in reference to participating with the system and then doing the changes inwardly. There were some people who said, girl, fuck the system, blow it all up. There were some people who had a more spiritual perspective. There were people who were on the fence, like, let's have those conversations. But now everybody getting scared. Everybody's scared to motherfucking talk, girl. And the reason why people are scared to talk is because they get up here so boldly, so confidently, as if though they know what they're talking about. And then when they're fact checked, okay, instead of saying, you know what, I was wrong, my bad, I'm sorry, I apologize, and then work on actually learning from the situation, okay? Looking at the L not as a loss, but as a lesson. Okay, that makes sense. But now people can speak about ignorance, girl, and say it's their opinion. And guess what? That's true. That is your opinion. But your opinion is full of shit as well. And we're going to call an ace and a spade a goddamn spade. Anyway, let's continue.
And we're not made and forced to comply with the madness, with the evil.
Right.
And I wouldn't even let it off the hook and say it's a sickness, though it was labeled that prior to 1973 before they took it off of the books.
So are you talking about homosexuality?
This is why I'll come to my title. I miss the days when women and men knew their place. It's not just about the men you see here on the banner in front of you. Yes, they're all men. They're in drag, makeup, beauty marks, heavy lipstick, pouting lips, a promise to those who enjoy that fetish what they can do.
Wow.
I say, to each his own. It's the same idea and place I've come to at the age of 60 after seeing so much in my life. Maybe a few extra helpings of experience, but it's also given me a few extra helpings of wisdom. Maybe my wisdom is unconventional. Maybe my wisdom is not the norm, because I've pretty much seen everything in my life. This is what makes it easy for me to get in front of the mic and on a feeling alone go into detail as to how many others feel while they may not be able to express it. I'll do that because I feel it. You know, when I say women and men knew their place, I didn't say black women and men knew their place. Although that is in there, I mean the whole society of women and men knew their place. Because years ago, if you were a man and you wanted to cross-dress, that is your right behind closed doors. It is not your right to take that mess to school, parade it in front of the elementary school kids, and tell them why that is normal and the norm and something that is on the menu of life for them to choose. Introducing to our young brains who are going to be the rulers and leaders of the future something to take them off the path that's not important.
Did y'all hear how he explain that? That is the problem and the issue. See, y'all are not ready to have the real conversations. Y'all not. Some of y'all have this privileged type of mindset as if though you are on the right side of life because you're heterosexual. Meanwhile, if we were to really sit up here and tally everything up, y'all destroying the world more than we could. We could never. Because y'all remind us all the time that we're the minority, right? We're the 1% that nobody cares about. We're not valuable enough and important enough. Let's play that game then. Okay, if the drag queens can't come in and read to the kids, can't no motherfucking princess come in and read to the kids, can't no fucking dinosaur come in and read to the kids, ain't no Coco Melon coming in to read to the kids, girl. None of the other fairy tale shit. And on top of that, heterosexual people, a lot of the times, not all of them, but a lot of them, when they think of drag queens, they're the ones that automatically go to the sexual aspect. They're the ones that's always thinking about it being some sort of sexual deviant behavior that's done behind closed doors, when it's actually an art form. And even Lance is going to say, well, I don't understand it. Of course you don't understand it. You're ignorant about queerness. That's how a lot of queer people make their fucking money. And if I'm not mistaken, there are also some cis hetero men who enjoy the art of drag queen as well, and they're not even gay. See, if you're afraid to be open-minded, just say that. Everybody has their limits, even me. There are some things that I'm still conservative in reference to my experience, that some people will be like, you need to be more free and you need to do this. No, there are some people who love fucking crack cocaine. I don't. I'm glad that they love it, girl. Somebody got to do shit that I don't want to do. But when you create this narrative as if though there are no such thing as queer children, and you know what? I've done a live about me being a queer child, and I actually had a conversation with somebody earlier yesterday about one of my experiences as a queer child. I remember when I was in 3rd grade, there was this boy, I ain't gonna say his name, but his initials are WL, who was in my class, girl, and was gay as fuck. And there were times that he would invite me over to his house and he would try to do shit with me. And I told his ass no. Because contrary to what people believe or want to believe, gay people got standards too, girl. But that was also gay youth. Children are nothing but little ass human beings. And there are some children who are naturally queer. But see, when it comes down to y'all commentary on queerness, y'all will believe everything else that's negative or destructive. And if you want to believe that, that's fine. But if you want to call yourself genuinely, truly, authentically objective, then you have to also accept the fact that there are some queer people who are queer naturally. But y'all won't even acknowledge that, because if y'all were to acknowledge that, then y'all would actually have to put the work in to actually educate yourselves about queerness, and we know y'all not finna do that. But meanwhile, queer people low-key have to kiss the feet of heterosexual people just to fucking exist. So it's okay for y'all to sit up here and have these negative thought processes about queer people, but then feel some type of way when queer people literally redirect that energy back to you. And for the individuals like that who believe in supremacy and not equality and equity, girl, y'all are the ones who are going to get the work. I want y'all to understand that. PSA to the black community, we're not going to allow the victimhood of what we going through for you to continue to push your shit onto other people who really trying to help y'all, because y'all can say what y'all want to say about the black community and queer people and black women. They're the ones who's keeping this fucking community together. What are you talking about? When y'all want some pussy, who are y'all running to? Okay. When y'all looking to lay y'all motherfucking heads, who y'all running to? Okay. Every time you look at your mama, okay. And you know black men, a lot of them love their mama. But they're the ones keeping the community together. And he's going to speak about black women, and he does speak some things, again, that I do agree with. But when you talk about this queer shit, bro, we're going to make sure we're having a real objective conversation. Because if we're going to play this game, don't be mad when we start playing the game. And no shade, we play it better than you. Ron says, gender bending was known back in the day too. It wasn't just something that was sprouted out with the last couple of years, especially in the 70s and 80s. Hell yeah, but I'm at this point now where some of these individuals, they don't have the body that they used to have when they was motherfucking 18, 19, 20 years old. Because when they was able to fit up into the tight shit, they had the nut sack on the side and the dick print there. And motherfuckers was wearing Jerry curls and tall leather boots. And there was a lot of motherfuckers in the club that was niggas looking like bitches, according to them. It wasn't no problem and no issue. And even on Black Men Unfiltered, when it was brought up that, oh, y'all don't have no problem with the princes, y'all can accept the princes, y'all can accept the earth, wind, and fire, you can accept the motherfucking Isley brothers wearing goddamn crop tops and shit, showing off their stomachs and shit. But we can accept them because at least we knew they was heterosexual, and what they was singing about, it was like, a lot of you motherfuckers was singing Purple Rain and was crying when this nigga was dead. It's just like, y'all are not going to sit up here and acknowledge us when y'all benefit from it. It don't work that way. It does not work that way. No shade. But see, that was okay. All that stuff in the 70s and 80s was okay because they was able to wear the fashions without having to hold shit in. And they were still singing about heterosexual love. Even Luther Vandross, you knew he was singing to his damn partner. But y'all ain't give a damn about that. You know, Tevin Campbell didn't say he wanted to talk to the girl. He wanted to be talked to like the bitch. 80s teens movies always had the overly flamboyant gay characters or the super butch lesbian gym teacher in schools, and that was always the comical one, the one that was always funny, the one to be laughed at. Again, on Black Men Unfiltered, when they had that live, that they were trying to trigger black women because of what Just Hilarious said, and of course nobody does context, nobody does research, nobody has nuance. They said, somebody on the panel said, oh, you know, well, back in the day when it comes to queer people, I mean, that was something that nobody was really trying to be. Like, we were just laughing at them and they were the butt of the joke and they were funny. They were never meant to have awareness that they can control. Because if you're going to be queer, you're going to be queer at our benefit. Look at the black church. It's the same thing as white supremacy and patriarchy. This whole same cycle, it's the same fucking blueprint is just drenched in melanin and drenched in heterosexuality. And there are some queer people who also do that as well. Because I'm not going to sit up here and say that every queer person is a person who cares about community and literally wants to bring forth a change where there is true equality. There are some queer people that believe in queer supremacy and that believe that heterosexual people should be put down and all these other type of things, or, oh, you hurt me, so I'm gonna hurt as many people as I can. They're out there. But my thing is, focus on those individuals. Call those individuals out by name instead of this broad generalization. Because if we're going to play the broad game, girl, if we're going to talk about this broad shit, girl, well, we going to be broad like Amber Lynn, Chantel, and Kimberell together. It's going to be a super Snorlax fupa party in this bitch. Let's continue. We gonna be here for a minute.
We all are freaks behind closed doors.
Wow.
I'm a heterosexual black man, but I'm a flaming heterosexual black man.
Amen.
I'm a proud, flaming, freakish heterosexual black man.
Come on,
but
man.
I would not take what I do, which falls under the category of normalcy, okay, and push it on anything else.
But yet, y'all would talk about it openly. Y'all would make songs about it. I mean, wasn't it niggas back in your day singing on the street corner, woo, 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 like crackheads? You know, crackheads always be able to hit them high notes. All that type of shit. Wasn't it on the corner singing about coochie? And again, heterosexual sex is in everything. Television shows, commercials, it's even in children's stuff because we're just allowing children to be children. But it's even in there. How many motherfucking cartoons have we seen growing up, especially in the 80s and 90s, girl, that when you look at it as an adult, you was like, whoa, girl, they put that in there? Whoa, I didn't see that innuendo. That was crazy. But nobody said nothing about it for the most part. Because at the end of the day, it's heterosexual. So, I mean, it's okay. But anything that people believe that's deviant from that, now all of a sudden, there's congressional hearings. Now there has to be this intense vetting process, but it's not really vetting, it's just a general vetting. It's kind of like the Ugandan bill when they speak about aggravated homosexuality. You even have conservative people asking, what the fuck is aggravated homosexuality? What does that mean? Even the way that they explain it. And if you want to know more about that bill, you can definitely check out my archive because we read through the entire bill. It's broad as hell because we understand they don't want any form of queerness to exist whatsoever. Even if it's in the fucking closet, it doesn't go the fuck away. Just because you sweep it under the rug, it does not go away. And that's how shit builds up and piles up and manifests into some very dark shit because people are not paying attention to the hurt aspects of people and trying to help them to heal. Keyword, help them to heal. And when you have people in the world who don't know what healing looks like, how do you expect them to act like civilized people when they don't even give a fuck about themselves? And oh, that isn't my problem, but you're speaking about community. So that means if somebody on the block is fucked up, that means that affects me, right?
I am an extreme person. I like to do a whole lot of things, but it doesn't go over into the preferences of what you might see on this banner. And again, whatever you do it behind closed doors.
Lance, let me help you out. A lot of the queer people, just so you have an understanding, because I don't ever, and I said this before and I'm gonna keep saying this, to ever be any confusion. I can speak for a lot of queer men. We don't want you, 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 we don't want you. And I mean, we talking like I don't want you, I don't want you, as far as Katherine Jackson, Angela Bassett's performance in that 5-hour motherfucking Michael Jackson biopic that be on VH1 every Thanksgiving and Christmas and shit. I don't want you, I don't want you, I don't want you, I don't want. We don't want you in that way. And even if you was to go on that side, girl, or to go on our team, girl, we got too many people playing, girl. You can go ahead and go. It's too crowded over here, girl. Goodbye. Thank you. We trying to still understand the L, the G, the B, the T, the Q, the I, all this stuff, girl. You can move on. You got your whole world. Remember, y'all the majority. Y'all have everything for the most part.
But women and men knew their place.
Wow.
Everything that we see out in the open has always been. For some who lived a sheltered life, they're very much shocked when they pull that rock up in the backyard at their parents' home when they were a little child and lifted that rock and saw all the strange looking insects crawling around that they never saw before. They were so scared they ran away. They didn't even put the rock back.
Maybe you did, but that wasn't everybody.
So today, as a result of all the things that have happened to us in society, there are a lot of things coming out. But the difference is, it was always there then, just as we see it in the open now. But the difference was, we knew our place.
Wow.
When men at the barbershop saw a shapely young lady walk by, I mean, with the smallest waistline and the most curvaceous backside and hips, pretty face, perky anti-gravity breasts, they would say things amongst themselves. But when she came back in the same direction from the store, it was always a brother who went out there to greet her and meet her. But he didn't say anything about that. He treated her with respect.
Wow.
We always had grimy men. We always had the kiss and tell type men. But back then, from what I could see as a 5 and 6-year-old and 7-year-old who was always with my father, I saw men show the ultimate respect. We knew what they had on their mind, but they still treated a woman like a woman.
Of course they gonna treat them like how they gonna treat them right then and there. Of course. I'm treating you like this now in front of everybody because I do believe in my image and I do play into the whole respectability politics type of thing. So, and of course, I probably got a girlfriend or I got a something on the side or a wife or something. So, of course, I'm not gonna motherfucking jeopardize that shit. But, bitch, I will be seeing you later on tonight. I will be seeing you later on this weekend. Because guess what? You just expressed the sexual aspect of it. So you have the right to be able to sit here and see a woman and just, oh, thank you, Lord, for the fat ass, Lord, and the small waist and these goddamn perky ass titties and shit. And I can just imagine my whole mouth on the nipple and shit like I'm a baby again. Newborn babe in this mug. That's in your head, but you're not gonna say it. Okay, well, let's take a scripture from the Bible. So a man thinketh, so he is. So if you already thinking it, you might as well just tell her the goddamn truth. That's the problem. A lot of niggas was smooth criminals. Let's not forget. The Temptations wrote a song talking about a papa being a Rolling Stone. That wasn't made by the Migos. That wasn't made by Lil Nas X. That wasn't made by Meg Thee Stallion. That wasn't made by Sexy Red. Those was made by them doo-wopping ass niggas you grew up singing to on the radio, sir. A lot of the shit that's happening right now is the result of grandma and granddad not knowing how to be actual fucking human beings. And I get it, because in some of those spaces, people had to survive. I get it. That makes sense. But then there are some people who genuinely want to fucking live. And I'm getting tired of seeing people, especially black people, become jealous when they see other people rise above adversity. Instead of becoming jealous of those individuals, you should be asking yourself, bitch, or better yet asking them, what have you done to transcend the adversities of this world to still manifest your best life? Even though it's a bunch of chaos and foolishness going around, girl, that's happening outside of me, but I'm also aware enough to be able to pay attention to my inner world too, to where it could be a bunch of insecure, hurt motherfuckers out here doing crazy shit, girl. I will love myself, which means I will learn to protect myself, which means that I'm gonna be me at all times. There's a lot of learning that can happen here. Even I'm learning. I will always be a student until I draw my last breath. I don't know about all these other old dogs, but when my ass becomes an old dog, I will continue to learn new tricks because I'm going to live as long as I can. I'm a leprechaun.
With respect, 90% of the time, unless it happened to be a drunk man who couldn't contain himself. And I'm not going to let the liquor be an excuse, because alcohol is an amplifier.
Correct.
It's something that amplifies what is already there.
Correct.
So nobody can come to me and say, well, I'm sorry because I was a little drunk. Little drunk or a whole lot drunk. Trust me, if that thing wasn't there to disrespect a woman, it would have never happened. I've never approached a woman in a disrespectful way. Maybe they might have made me inhale and catch my breath when I saw how gorgeous they were. And I would be honest and let them know. I was never the type of guy to come with a hidden agenda or secret motivation. You know why? Because I knew my place.
Wow.
I knew my place. And although I had many things rush through my mind, I knew that that woman was somebody's daughter, was somebody's sister, possibly somebody's mother, cousin, kinfolk, best friend, next door neighbor. She didn't come to this world by herself, or yeah, she might have been born by herself if she wasn't a twin, but you're connected to people. I miss the days when men knew how to respect women and knew their place. The women back in the days, it seemed to be more plentiful, where we had our sisters who knew their place. And I don't say that in a chauvinistic, narcissistic way, like go on in there, girl, in the kitchen and make me something to eat. And them clothes better be washed. And when I lay down in bed, even if I don't take a shower and my balls are musty, you better come on in there and take care of business and get down on your knees for me.
And there's a lot of niggas, contrary to what you believe or want to believe, that do that. There are a lot of niggas right now who want women to give them all type of sloppy toppies. Meanwhile, when they giving head, they smelling shit. What is going on here? And my thing is, there needs to be more black men who are willing to hold other black men accountable and not create slack in the conversation and dialogue because now you don't want to be accountable. That's where more of the energy should be, not on queer people and this whole ideology, false ideology about what queer people are doing to the black community. Meanwhile, y'all cannot prove it. But see, y'all not gonna do that because those niggas that you need to check are the ones that have guns, are the ones that are out here shooting, killing, murdering, literally exhibiting the behaviors of the oppressor, girl, when it comes to getting what they want by any means. But see, y'all don't want to do that. So it will be easier for y'all to pick on queer people and pick on women. And then when they nut up on y'all, y'all ask them to be more, especially women, to be more feminine. I'm sorry, if somebody is trying to lead me and lead my household, I want to make sure you're not leading us off a fucking cliff. So hell yeah, I'm gonna ask some questions, as you should. Especially if you want people to invest in you, then especially a person who really invested and really want to get their bang for their buck, they're going to ask all type of questions to make sure this is something they want to invest in.
And I'm not talking about praying.
Kind
Oh
of
yeah, you
Sunday.
gonna pray to me. You gonna do what you need to do to make your man feel good. See, not like that. And many people will say, oh, Lance, you're catering to the women. You a simp. You're this, you're that. Look, in today's world, we don't have many of the old school women. We do have some left, but far and few between. These days, especially in America, we have so many women who are so masculine, who want to be men, who are disappointed in men, yes, but they've seemed to abandon what it takes to be a real woman and a real lady. It doesn't mean that you have to bow down to every man. You can be strong, but don't forget to be feminine. Femininity is not weakness. It is strength, because you are our mothers. You keep the homes. You are wives. Running a home is one of the most challenging tasks that you could ever think to do. But we dismiss it. We think it's nothing. Fellas, you break up with a woman, your wife leaves you, and now you're left at home to do everything for yourself. And you tell me how easy it is. You do your stuff at home on the weekends, and it's time to get up Monday morning to go to work, if that is the time you go. But whenever you start your work week, you're beat up, because doing things in the house takes so much. And so imagine you have children that you have to raise, and you're at work, and it's tough. Yes, we understand that. But you have a woman at home who is taking care and rearing the children, teaching them on top of what they learned in school, and feeding them, keeping the house clean, washing their clothes, having them eat before you even eat, sister. I understand that. So when you can stay looking good while doing all of that, I tip my hat to you. Always. And I love you. But this thing that has happened now, by design. And we all know, if you watch this show, you understand so much. I've learned from all of you. So I'm not teaching anything or speaking about anything that you don't already know. You know so much. This is almost entertainment for you and something to reaffirm what you already know. I'm not trying to preach to the choir, but maybe someone who has come to this channel who has never been here before will hear something a little different and say, whoa, this brother's talking different.
But here's the thing. When it comes down to your perspective on queerness, you're not saying anything new. You're not saying anything that's revolutionary. You're not saying anything that's unorthodox. You're not saying anything that brings a breath of fresh air in the perspective of queerness to be like, aha. And again, what a lot of heterosexual people do not understand is that when you continue to spout fake shit about a group of people, people will start to believe it. And it becomes very dangerous for these groups of people who, for the most part, are really just trying to live their life. Just like how you want to live your life in peace and solitude and be connected to nature and to just feel good about yourself and your environment and your world. That is not something that is mutually exclusive to only you or heterosexual people. That is a human being aspiration and feeling that all people are entitled to feel. But again, when there are certain lies that are being spout about queer people, generally, it becomes an issue. And that's how we know a lot of these people who say they are woke are not really woke. Because in order to be woke means that, girl, you also have to accept what's going on in this world. And that can be very scary. But it also motivates you to live your best life while you still have a chance, while you still can. Because even though I'm starting to love myself and really strengthen my self-love game, it does not mean that it's preventing me or that I'm exempt from becoming a hashtag or being the next victim of a hate crime. It doesn't make it stop. That's why community is important. So that we can start looking out for each other. And again, you grew up during the 60s and the 70s. A time where, no shade, I wish I grew up in. Because again, the music was amazing. It was banging. Black people was onto some shit. We was onto some very mothership, just ethereal ass playing. The music was full of substance. It made sense. And even though there's trash on the radio now, if you do your research, there is a lot of black artists out here who are heterosexual and queer that are reviving R&B, that are reviving real music, because they also studied the greats before them. But see, y'all would never know that if y'all don't sit down and actually talk to the people.
But then there are a lot of brothers out here talking different, but they seem to shut these channels down where we don't get the traction to say what it is that we have to say. And on that note, I want to take a little sip of water. Let me sip. Thank you.
Let me tell you something. I know something about some water. As a lover of the herb, water is amazing.
Woo, that was good.
That's all I drink is
love
water.
to flow like
for real,
this.
for real.
But we knew our place.
Spring water, to be exact.
Men wanted to be men. Men deserved, those who did, and demanded respect by the very way they carried themselves.
Wow.
Sisters, back in the day, and even today for those that are far and few between, when a real man who has integrity, confidence,
Right.
the intention of doing the right thing,
Right.
and mannerable steps into the room, you could be at the doctor's office sitting down and there's an empty space next to you, and you see this man who's smelling good, looking good, but carries himself upright, strong and confident, not loud, but a quiet confidence in himself.
Right.
You can't help but wish, if you were single and available, to say, I wish this man would sit next to me. Whoa, he is so well groomed. Today, a lot of our brothers who didn't have anyone to teach them walk around any kind of way, smelling any kind of way, with all kind of profanity coming out of their mouths.
And that's because, again, there is no community to have that happen. And even the ones who are supposed to be in their lives to make them better, to see it for them, to acknowledge their humanity, don't even acknowledge their humanity, which is why they go out into the world and they create trauma bonds with other motherfuckers who've been hurt, used and abused, ostracized and outcasted. And then look what happens. We're creating the land of lost motherfucking boys. I think that is what it's called, is the land of lost boys? No, that's Peter Pan. I'm talking about y'all remember the movie Pinocchio? When Pinocchio went on that island with all them young boys that was over there drinking and smoking and doing all type of shit, and they ended up transmuting into damn donkeys and shit. That's literally what's happening. That's literally what's happening. But if these people were to actually sit down and listen to these people and actually humanize them, like Lance said, which is true, you have to get to know people. We live in a world now where certain, especially black men, just blackness in general, but other groups of people too, but from my experience, blackness and queerness, but blackness is discriminated against, not just in this country, but around the world. To the point to where we don't even respect our own selves, girl, because nobody else does. So if somebody keeps treating you like trash and trash and trash and dredge and all this shit, eventually, if you don't have anything to counterbalance that, you're going to believe it. So if I don't give a fuck about myself, why should I give a fuck about everybody else? So yes, you have individuals who are looking rough, dusty, dirty, and all that stuff. But there are also people who look that way as well, who are going through some sort of spiritual awakening to where, girl, nothing outside of me matters at this moment, girl, because I'm having an internal conversation with myself, an internal dialogue with myself so that I can be better. It's a lot of people, like you said, out here who are hurt, who are trying to figure life out. And that's why these conversations that people say that are so important, but don't be having them, are really important. Because when you have those conversations, it branches off into other intersections of blackness that also needs attention as well.
Their physical appearance shows that they don't even care how people accept them on the first impression. They're not clean cut anymore. I'm not throwing off on the bearded brothers, because if you keep your beard right, fine. I'm not throwing off on the brothers who have locks, because if you keep yourself good and trimmed and good, let them hang. But keep yourself right. Show that you're manicured. Show that you keep everything trim and neat. And by all means, smell good. You shouldn't come out the house looking oily and musty. Grown men, pants hanging down, can't even keep themselves in discipline at the dinner table, guts hanging, love handles, men who have breasts just as big as their wives or their girlfriends.
Double D's.
Nobody wants to be bothered with that. And they walk around like they're God's gift. I miss the days when men knew their place. And they wonder why they don't get play. They wonder why they're on a, as they say it, a long dry streak. It really shouldn't be about that. Because if you treat women around you right, who are real women, who are not masculine and trying to challenge you to be a man and sees you as a challenge, you won't have any problem with women gravitating toward you. But I miss the days when men had an abundance of men to look up to date, to court, to be engaged to, and to eventually marry. Why? Get married, have a family, be a part of a community. It's like commune and unity. Unity is in that word community. But you don't see the word unity in neighborhood. All you could take out of neighborhood is hood. Most of us don't live in communities anymore. We live in neighborhoods. And it would be better if we did live in a neighborhood, because we have neighbors in this hood. But it's not a hood where the decadent things go on. Neighborhood is the beginning of community. You have to live somewhere, and you get to know the people around you, and you work together, and you build a community. And it's not based on how good you can get down on your knees and show your head game. It's not based on how low you're hanging between your legs, brothers. Because while some of our sisters may like it long like that, how long is your discipline? How long is your vision? How long is your ability to make the right decisions to secure her as her nature requires? Just because they're angry right now and they say, I don't need a man. It's just like a child who says and gets angry, oh, I don't love my mother no more, because they didn't get the extra slice of apple pie. Conditional type things.
We are literally negating the experiences of people who have been through horrible, atrocious things. Not anything on the level of a kid saying, I hate you because you didn't give me a slice of fucking apple pie. What? A lot of these women want men, but they're not going to settle for men who are not confident in themselves. And a lot of these black men are not confident in themselves. And they do all type of fuck Shit. And contrary to what you believe, what you want to believe, y'all talking about Lil Nas X and Saucy Santana and these gay ass rappers as if though all these niggas now are just manifesting the episode of the Boondocks with Huey walking around with a skirt on, talk about put it in my ass. But there are more blue faces than there are Little Nas X's and Saucy Santanas. There are more niggas out here who literally will sit up here and ask their younger son, oh, you must be gay if you're not in here watching these big booty strippers pop their ass and their coochie for a real goon in front of everybody. You're not there. You trying to get a bag of chips. And on top of that, while his baby mama was giving birth, all of a sudden you on vacation with your other baby mama. And you want women to submit to these individuals? And for the men who feel like they're real men that's not doing any of that or whatever, I'm gonna need for y'all to actually step y'all shit up and talk to these niggas who doing the shit. The ones that's actually getting in relationships with women and actually breaking their heart and actually having children with them and not giving a fuck about them or their goddamn child unless it benefits them, okay? The ones that actually make these women, according to y'all, become so masculine and don't need a man. Check the motherfuckers out here who's creating those experiences so that even the quote-unquote good men that see value in this woman have to now deal with the bullshit of what somebody else did. And then when we ask y'all to be accountable, then all of a sudden, oh well, she should have chose a better man. At this point, women like, bitch, I might as well fuck with another bitch because at least I would get something out of this. At least, first of all, I would get an orgasm out of this because a lot of these women ain't getting no orgasm. No shade. My condolences to you if you have a vagina, girl, with these niggas, some of them, okay? They find in households that actually care about them and they goddamn children. Just like Foodie Beauty, motherfucking 3-tier stomach ass girl, a lot of black men are going through an ego death. And there are black men who are healing from their aspects and becoming better. And then there are black men who believe in supremacy. That feel like I don't have to go through this. But see, we're learning what a real quote-unquote man is, a man who is balanced in his energies and knows who he is. And we're going to see who these people say the beta males are, the ones who walk around with this illusion that they have the keys and the answers to everything but don't know a damn thing. Y'all gonna gag at what real men look like, because they gonna be a lot different than what y'all think.
And you're mad as a little baby, a little child, and you grow up and you're a little older now and you see why she didn't let you eat all the junk food, because now you have a friend who has health problems from being obese. I miss the days when children respected their parents.
Cosby energy.
I miss those days. I miss the days when women and men knew their place. Everything is confused now. Everything is in a state of disarray. Nobody's trying to fulfill the roles of being a real woman and being a real man. We're off. Lots of us are hurt. Lots of us have been molested. Lots of us have been abused out of our minds. And then we try to bring this thing as normalcy to the forefront because you're going to deal with what you did to me and how you got me messed up. So I'm going to embarrass you. Stepdaddy, you snuck in my room and you did these things to me at night. You're not supposed to be doing this to your stepson or your real son. So now I'm going to come out and flame and embarrass you.
So now, And I'm just asking questions based off of what came out of your mouth. So are you sitting here and equating that for the majority of queer people, not the weird anomalies like me allegedly, but for the majority of queer people, that because they were SA'd by somebody of the same sex, that now to get back at them and to expose them, I'm going to bring shame to your name by what? Becoming the physical manifestation of what you're afraid to be? Is that what you're saying? And if so, that's a very interesting but yet very damaging statement to say. And especially if it's a broad generalization. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and say that there might be some queer people who do that to spite their parents. But again, to make that broad generalization is where it becomes dangerous. Just like how when you videos back where you were saying, oh, you know, well, if I dated somebody who is like 10 years younger than me, for example, if I'm 15 and you're 5, but then we get older and we've known each other for that long. Hold up. What is a 15-year-old doing with a 5-year-old? But because it's heterosexuality, it's okay. You even have videos on YouTube where it literally showed older people saying that they have no problem with their younger daughter marrying somebody who's older, especially if they're well established. Oh, well, I mean, he's a doctor, he's a lawyer, he has money. Y'all don't want the playing field to be leveled. And that's the gag. The playing field will always be leveled because we're all human, which means every single one of us has, okay, the inalienable right to exist and to be. And if y'all want to sit up here and talk ignorant shit and still want to be ignorant and be confident and proud of your ignorance, well, don't get upset when again that same energy is being reciprocated to y'all. And again, I'm not critiquing in my commentary about anti-queerness in reference to these individuals being horrible people. I never said they're horrible. I never said they're monsters. I never said they're evil people. But are they ignorant as hell? You damn Skippy. Do they know what they're talking about? Hell to the no. Is the shit that they're saying very damaging to where it can literally affect the life of a queer person? You goddamn right.
For what you did in the dark, I'm going to do that. I'm going to lash out on everything that wants to appear normal. I'm going to lash out on every time you took me to church. But when you took me to church, just like the story I told, and I can tell it because she gave me permission, of the young girl who, she's grown now, rode my bus, and she told me how her grandfather, who was a pastor, would have his daughter, which was her mother, who was addicted to crack, bring her over there with the dress on that she was going to wear, and the grandfather would give his daughter crack or money for crack in exchange to have sex with his granddaughter.
Wow. Wow. That's
And this is before the church service. I have to tell it. I'm not going to get graphic, but the daughter, the pastor's daughter, the granddaughter's mother was sitting on the side of the bed while the grandfather forced that girl to perform acts, to lay on her back and take what he had to give, his own blood. And what's even sicker, how did this arrangement come to be? I mean, really, when you hear things like this that people catch, no matter what it is on a dysfunctional, evil level, again, I won't say sick. I'm not letting them off the hook. Stuff like this is evil. And this young lady would tell me sometimes the same story night after night because she had to get it off her chest and she trusted me. And she says, Lance, I know you do YouTube. You can go on there. Don't mention my name, but just tell my story for me, please. I said, are you sure? I said, would you like to come and tell it? I said, I'm not looking for hits or exploitation, but there are people out there who are hurting, who went through similar things that were maybe less drastic and some maybe more. And in my YouTube journey, I have discovered that what this young girl went through was a starter kit. Trust me, because every story that you hear on the LANCESCURV show that seems to be drastic like that, there are many others who have come to me
That's true.
and revealed things that they did not want to put out online, but they said, Lance, you can tell my story. I'm just not up for doing it myself because I don't think I can make it 3 minutes into telling it.
Understandable.
Before
Correct.
I break down. See, there's a lot of damaged people out here. And what you see today is the result of that. See, when you have a garden and you plant your seeds, you can't expect in a week's time that that seed is going to grow up to be a tall tree bearing fruit. It takes years. It takes many years. And sometimes the weather may not be favorable for that next year for things to bloom or harvest. So you got to cultivate that garden so you give it a better chance at bearing good fruit. Where's the good fruit right now? We're not bearing good fruit out of our community. We're bearing destruction and dysfunction. Look at these pictures. I hate to say it. These are all brothers. But what happened to them to turn them this way? We take this so light and we make jokes of it and we say, yes, we're going to go to the drag queen show and watch this. And it is accepted as an art form. I don't know why. Because I don't see Jewish men going up in drag. They probably do it behind closed doors. As a matter of fact, I knew of one who did so. How do you know, Lance? Trust me, a lot has been revealed to me. And if you want to hear that story, I'll do it on the next one. It probably will get negative 21 hits because they're going to make sure that something like that doesn't go out. But I've seen so much in the direction that we're going in. We're not going to have any remaining communities. We'll have a whole lot more neighborhoods that have no neighbors, but they're hoods. See, neighbors don't shoot and kill each other. Neighbors don't sell drugs to each other. Neighbors don't gossip about each other. Those are the things that turn a budding seedling of a neighborhood into a hood, a crushed seed where all potential is gone and life is hopeless, like that seed that was crushed or wasn't planted and cared for properly to become part of the community. So you have all these disembodied spirits lurking in bodies, mixed up mentally, spiritually hurt and misguided, nowhere to go and living hopeless. And you say this is progress? And you say this is progressive living? That you can do whatever it is that you want to do? Listen, I'm not too high on the church. But let me tell you, the way the world is going, it's best you go on back to the church and read the Bible and sit down and go to church 2 or 3 times a week. Things were still going on, but we had a little more order. But yet and still.
But you just used an example about how even amidst all this order that's going on, that there was still a bunch of low down skullduggery that was going on in the church by sharing this story, unfortunate story that has happened to this woman. So you're not telling them to go to those same institutions that allow for that to happen? Wow.
People do what they want to do and turn around and claim that they're Christians, claim that they're Muslims, right? Claim that they're Buddhists and into Judaism, and religion does nothing if you can go down the street on a Friday night or Saturday night or any night during the week and see something looking at you like this. I miss the days when women and men knew their place. It's a bizarro world we're living in now. But it's not just now. Again, I have to say it, the seeds were planted long ago. This is the result of what has happened. Like they love to say, what is done in the dark will reveal itself in the light.
Correct.
Or shine the light on this banner and look at what our men are becoming. They don't know their place. They have been raised by masculine women who did not like men. So they raised you up to be subservient and effeminate. They raised you up to be this way. And now that you're grown now, you're the very man that she doesn't want. So she blames who? She just blames men. But look at how she raised you. And some will say, well, listen, if the man was around, things would have been better. But I can't say that even still, because some of the men that you laid down with and you chose to lay down with, they were no good either. And this is why we have baby mamas now with several different baby daddies. I remember driving the bus and it blew my mind. The mother of these 3 boys named all of them with the same first name. And you know how they referred to each other? By their last name. 7 and 8 years old. Hey, Johnson, give me back my candy. I didn't take your candy, Robinson. I think Stevenson did it. I was like, what? So I knew her quite well in passing, silently, and she started to talk. I said, can I ask you a question? Did you give them last names for first names? She said, no. They're all named Brian after their grandfather. But since the baby daddies all had different last names, that's how they address each other. But I wanted to honor the grandfather by giving them all the same first name. I said, this is a sicko world we're coming up in. We got brothers who want to drop the seed because, see, that process of procreation feels real good. Even the beginning stages of dealing in that, called foreplay. Ooh, boy, that feels so good. But you know why it feels good? Because there's a responsibility that comes with that. And that is a gift to you because you earned it. Now we don't have to earn it anymore. Now we can just roll up on these females, not everybody, because we have good ladies and good women out here. And we can get what we want immediately. I miss the days when brothers kept their zippers up and women kept their legs closed. Now, it didn't always happen that way, but we had more restraint. We had more vision to say, you know what? I can't get pregnant with this man because he's not exhibiting the traits of a good man. A friend of mine, many years ago, when we lost contact, we used to talk in Orlando. The funny thing is, I'm going to just say, Peggy, wherever you are, if you're listening to this, please reach out to me if you ever find this. But we used to have the deepest conversations and deepest thoughts. We never met each other. This is an amazing story. It's quick.
The deepest.
We met each other in an AOL chat room.
Ooh, so deep.
Because when I first got online, it was fascinating. I would share my artwork in the AOL chat rooms, and some of them would get mad. Man, you sent me this 5 times already. I was so enthusiastic to find this new medium to share my artwork. And there was a young lady who was a lawyer named Peggy. And she said, wait a second. Did I see in your profile that you said that you live in Orlando? I said, yes. She says, where in Orlando? I gave her the streets. I said, Americana and Texas Avenue, which was considered a hood, but I lived there because I wanted to be close to the jail, so when they called for overtime, I can get there quick. That was my strategy, and it worked because I got a lot of overtime, and I was rewarded because people would know Lance is going to get here quick. I kept my uniform pressed and hanging just in case they called me at the crack of dawn. I had all my food packed in my big lunch bag, and all I had to do, I already shaved, is go and rinse off a little bit. I hate to leave the house funky. I don't do that.
Okay.
But it comes to find out, she said,
Wash
Americana?
your ass.
Texas?
And wipe your ass too.
She says, where do you live? And I could say it now, the Buchanan Bay Apartments. She says, oh, hell, that's right next to me. I'm in Park Lane, which was affluent. There were condos. And we just started talking. We never had the need to really meet. It was but we loved each other. And we talked and got deep and deep. And she was one who missed the days when women and men knew their place. And we had deep conversations, and I just want to say to everybody, wherever she is, and I'm quite sure she's still with us, and if she's not still the same, throw my friend Peggy some good energy. If she's going through anything, let it be where it dissipates and disappears. If she's prosperous, let it continue.
Yes,
that woman has a lot of wisdom and a lot of sense. And we shared a lot of our private lives and intimate, and I don't mean just sexual, but deepest feelings. And these are the kind of things and bonds that we have to have.
Was some sexual shit involved?
What happened with the fact that men and women can have friendly relationships, decent relationships, brotherly and sisterly relationships, that if something happened with you, let's just make up a scenario. Say you're a man who didn't have much family. You don't have really any brothers or any sisters. And if you did, you weren't too close. And you're living in a new city where you weren't related to anybody, but there was that woman really around your age group or so that people may have thought, oh, you must be dating, but it was a brotherly, sisterly thing. And then you find out your mother dies, unfortunately. And you may not have enough money to make the funeral. These things happen. And you're so heartbroken. But you have that friend that you can call on the phone and say, sister, I can't make it. My bills are tight. I can't even contribute. My family lives on the other side of the country, and we're not close like that. I can't ask them to say, hey, could you please send just a plane ticket round trip, and I'll try to take the rest of the year to pay it off. This is what families should do, but there are some sisters who step up to the plate. And even if she can't give you the money, later on that night, she's holding you close to her bosom. We're not talking sexual, people. Breasts have been sexualized, but something about a woman's breast when you're sad and you're hurting, and she has her top on and she holds you and presses you close to that place of comfort, because if you were breastfed, you understand that's a motherly energy. Even though she's your sister, she affords you that. And she holds you as you cry. You can be tender, you can be real. I miss the days when women and men could be real with each other without having to jump into bed. Everything is so sexualized now. You can't even be friends. Men talk about being in the friend zone so long, like every woman they have a friendship with, it has to be about eventually going in the bed, and she friend zones you too long. You need to break that relationship. It may not be where you're to get with her sexually. It may be where you feed into her so she knows the real man when she sees it if you're a real man? Why do we all have to cash out on our coupons that we get in the Sunday paper? Oh, I forgot. We're in 2023. Not many people read the Sunday paper. Unless it's
The
on
Walking
the
Dead
internet.
has not happened yet.
But why do we have to feel pressured? Why can't I love you from a distance? Why can't I love you unconditionally and maybe still have a crush on you, but it would ruin the authentic connection we have if I try to get in and interlock my genitals with yours, and then what? We lost the aim and the focus on what we can give each other. I've learned that. I've known women who met me and wanted me for sex, and lots of times, and most of the time, I gave in.
Oh, wow.
It was nice.
Oh, wow.
But where are they now? The real ones who stuck in my life are the ones that we showed a little restraint, even if in the very beginning, like I said with my dear friend Maureen, yes, we were getting it on there for a while, for a couple of weeks, but we saw the value of friendship with each other. And we eased it into a higher gear, and this is why I have so much respect for her. Rest in peace, Maureen, right? The conversations that we had and the ways that we fulfilled each other in our souls and the voids that we had, the fun that we had. And other guys would hit on her and she might give them the number and come back and tell me what happened, because she was out there too now. We loved each other.
So it's just very interesting how when he shares his stories about his experiences, even though these are friends who either he had crushes on, and like you said, how can it not, create a relationships and connection with other women that are not sexual, even though he admitted that the majority of the experiences were sexual. It's very interesting to me when people do that stuff. But yet, even in the midst of the sexual aspect that he had with his friend, he was still able to experience her, the totality of all that she brought to the table. She wasn't so caught up on the sex either, or saying, oh my God, the sex is amazing, girl, but still being able to embrace all the other facets. Again, when you speak about this, you're acting as if though there are not queer people who have those same exact experiences or the same frequencies that bring about that experience and that feeling of connectedness. And again, because it's heterosexual, you can sit up here and try to humanize these aspects. You're sitting here talking about, okay, so I guess it's because they say for a lot of men, it's about the chase. It's about the chase. Is it the fact that you played the game of cat and mouse and you finally caught your reward? You were just more slick about it? Like, if we're going to play this game, play the game collectively. How is it that heterosexual people are getting all this slack in the dialogue, but when it comes to queer people, they have to be on their P's and Q's and dot their I's and cross their T's at all times?
Deeply. And there are individuals today that I love deeply, and they know who they are. And I can get on one of these adult themed shows and talk about the good old days and, I was doing this and I was doing that, but don't be fooled and don't be in a state of mind where you think that that's all I'm about.
Wow, but
I'm getting
for queer
older
people,
now.
that's all they're about.
Oh, I'm
Sex.
still sexual. I still get horny, don't we all? But it's more refined now. We know ourselves now. It's more specific now. I miss the days when women and men knew themselves and their limitations.
What?
If I tell you, whatever your favorite food might be, it could be chocolate cake, it could be a Starbucks, some type of coffee from Starbucks, it could be some type of pizza, it could be sushi, it could be your grandmother's chicken that she would fry, whatever it may be. If I tell you that every single day, that's all you're gonna eat, oh man, that's my favorite food. I can eat this every day. Tell me after the third day how much you want to eat that same thing every single day. See, brothers, when you're on one track with women, of course, I know you're going to look at them from head to toe. You might even go, You know, that noise that is involuntary that we make. There might be somebody standing close next to us, and we're like, uh-oh, they might have heard it. Ooh, God. But when you get past that phase, try to understand that she has more value than the beautiful ass that's in those jeans. She has more value than those lips that can do damage.
But then we look at the world today, there's a lot of individuals that, a lot of women who look the part, who have the lips, who have the curves, who have the tits sitting up, that has the nice ass. I mean, look at how a lot of women and even trans women are changing their bodies to fit the social construct and norm of what a woman looks like. And you have these women that have all of these sexual these enhancements to their body that is really seen as a sexual thing, unfortunately, and they still end up as the baby mama. They still end up as the side piece. They still end up as some sort of accessory that can be changed at any moment, at any time. So again, since men want to lead, men are going to have to start with themselves. Because when you start with yourself and you hold yourself accountable and you put yourself out there, you establish what is known as credibility, to where people are not going to play on your top because they know what you're about. You're willing to be who you are and heal from that and grow from that. And if you have mastered, Lance, self-actualization, then make sure you continue to make content that is geared towards men and how you feel men should be. And I'm talking about the men who are heterosexual. Because the queer men are not out here fucking cis hetero women. And having babies with them. That's y'all. Because again, remember, two men can't come together, procreate. Two women can't come together and procreate. But is y'all gonna do that or no? And it seemed like it's the no part.
And blow minds, among other things.
Wow.
Between those ears is intelligence, if she has any. Find out what she's about before you get with her. Because she can ruin your life if she's not the right one.
And he can
You
ruin hers.
her life.
Yeah.
If you're not the right one.
Hello. Thank you.
It's not going to be right until you develop yourself to the highest, not potential, but manifest that potential and bring it into reality. That's how you make yourself a catch. Not by diminishing yourself and running after this one and running after that one and becoming a glorified friction provider. That causes the woman to use the battery operated boyfriend. You know why? Because she's learned that there's a lot of good dick attached to a fool. There's a lot of good dick out there attached to an undisciplined man. There's a lot of good dick out there attached to a person who has no drive, no vision to accomplish anything in this life and to be better incrementally day by day. They have no drive, but they got good dick. I miss the days when women and men knew the power of their sexuality. It can ruin you. Yes, it can. And it's sweeter when you take your time and make yourself a better catch. Educate yourself. Utilize your intelligence. Keep your body in shape. Cultivate a good conversation. I may not know everything, but my father taught me, and he told me years ago, he said, Lance, read, read, read. Now, you know my mother was really into that. My father was too. He said, because if you become a scholar in one area of expertise in your life, that's cool, but you'll be a very boring person. I said, well, why, Daddy? Well, that's all you can talk about. That's not interesting. The joy of a good conversationalist when you engage with them is that they can talk about everything. They may not know everything, but they can talk a little bit about everything. And once I understood that, I went to work, bettering myself as far as being one who can engage anybody in conversation. Again, I don't know everything. That's
Correct.
not the point. But when
you speak about certain things, you need to know what you're talking about. And then on top of that, if you don't know, don't get upset at the individuals who are the experts in that situation, in that field, who come and correct you. If you want to continue the conversation and to be more relatable to human beings, then maybe you should learn about certain things. That can help you out. Okay?
are knowledgeable on something and they run across you who they don't expect to know a little bit about what they do, they're pleasantly surprised because now they can let you in their world because you took the time to absorb some knowledge. This is why in the bathrooms that I've had growing up, it was always National Geographic magazines, always decorative magazines, thick ones, the big thick ones. Whatever it may have been something on the financial world. Stuff way above my level of comprehension as a young boy, but I would pick it up. And of course, when you're in the bathroom, oftentimes you have time.
Okay.
And I would read maybe half an article. I'd go back later on when nature called and read the other half. And I didn't understand some of the words, so I'd get my dictionary and look it up. Oh, okay, I have a shallow understanding of how this works. And now that's a foundation to accumulate more knowledge because you made a down payment on knowing the base level. It's just like when you go to a mechanic and he tells you what's wrong with your vehicle. You may not be a mechanic, but if you have a basic knowledge on how things work, you can build from there. I miss the days when women and men took pride in themselves to better themselves on a cerebral level. Because what good is it if a woman or a man is very proficient in how they make you feel with their lips as it goes down to the Netherlands, but later on after the orgasms are achieved, when they open their mouth, stupidity comes out. Good head is not good head when it's head from a fool. I'm sorry to be graphic, but we get an adult here, and like I said, I want to focus on human nature. I just don't want to chase around the thought of talking these celebrities and stars. Stars? So who made them stars? See, when I grew up, my parents were my heroes. When I grew up, the neighbors' parents were heroes also. Yes, we like sports. Yes, I grew up on Muhammad Ali. I had his pictures plastered all over my wall, just like when I got into bodybuilding, and I had pictures of them plastered all over my wall. And we looked up to them, but we knew the real deal. We knew who was bringing the money home. We knew who was preparing the meals for us and kept the home so that we can have a full childhood, those of us who have, because every child did not have a full childhood. And so that's why we have to indulge in this thing called healing. Because I miss the days when we would self-reflect and be honest in our conversation and have real friendships to say, hey, I'm not trying to get on your nerves. I just want to say that this may be an area that you need to work on. And instead of saying, man, you don't know me, you're trying to put me down. No, I'm not saying that. You would say, yes, I do realize that. And I thank you for pointing that out because you're a real friend, as opposed to somebody who would talk bad about me behind my back. You brought this up and you follow through. How's that coming, brother or sister? I found a book when I was in the bookstore, or I found a link to an article online. I would like for you to read that. And you accepted that because you realize that your friend cares for you. So the small circle of friends that I've known for many, many decades, I know they will share things with me if I seem to be getting out of line. I miss the days when friendships were real, as opposed to these situationships that are conditional or competitive, or people who want to get near you just to watch your downfall, secretly jealous of you, and they see you successful and they will clap and applaud and say, oh, you're doing so well. And in the back of their mind, you're going to fall soon. And I want to take joy in seeing that. Who do you think you are? I miss the days when more people were authentic as opposed to what it is now. Everybody walking around with their phone, holding it up like they're toasting to the sky, like they're holding a champagne glass, but they're really looking at themselves taking a selfie. And you have filters on Instagram that make you look better, which is cool. But this has become the basis of reality. Falsehood is reality today. Image is reality today. You have two people meeting off of social media for the first time face to face, and they're standing next to each other, looking at each other, wondering, is this the person? Because it damn sure don't look like that. Until they open their mouth and realize they both been lying. Where do you go from there? Like the song, where do we go from here?
Move the hell on. What do you mean?
They must have been prophetic and knew a little something about social media for them to make that song. Because we're living in a world that is so fake, so superficial. Women want to be men. Men want to be women. Men don't want the responsibilities of manhood anymore, so they'd rather give up the manhood. And even if they don't turn into a full homosexual, it will be so effeminate to let you know, I'm not ready to be a man. I never had an example of a man to teach me how to be a man, so I'm gonna not be a threat in the society where the oppressor is threatened by us. Threatened by us to be strong black men. That when we do procreate, we hang around. And I don't mean to say hang around, but we stay committed to raise those children. And you know, we thought of it as something bad back in the day. I'm not saying it's good. But you know, you have these men who, you know, when they have a homegoing service, so many people pack the place out, even if it's not many. But there's always that woman. I'm not saying always, but you know what I mean. There's always that woman who has the dark shades on and has a fabulous shape. And there's a child, a couple of years old, that looks just like the man in the casket. And the family turns around and looks, and she knows all of them because he told her everything about his world, but they don't know her. And the little boy looks so innocent, and he knows that's his daddy in the casket. And some members of the family will choose to scorn that little boy who had nothing to do with the affair that that man in the casket had with that woman. But yet and still, he spent time with that child, right? I'm not saying it's cool to go cheat or lay around, but we don't know what's going on in the state of these relationships sometime. I've learned this through seeing in other situations and in the past things that I've done. Yes, I've been in that position and have done things. Things are not always perfect. I miss the days when we kept out of drama because of the things that the world wouldn't approve of. That mother could have jumped up and said, this is his son. Damn it, I don't care what you think. I loved him and he loved me, which pretty much might have been the way it is. But people had couth back then. They weren't so confrontational. They weren't ready to blow up the memory of a man or a woman who is laying in the casket. Let those things lie. Let it stay. What can we do to help that little boy? He doesn't have a father. He may have chose to deposit his sperm in another woman, and I'm not condoning that. No, I'm not. But we have enough things going against us as black people in this world that we need to pick up the pieces sometime of pieces we don't want to pick up, things that we don't want to face. Something happened. It may have been something that we didn't want to have happen, but how do we improve and move on from this? 400, 500 years, whatever it may be in America, through slavery and what we had to go through, the buck breaking in the Caribbean. That's why we have so many Caribbean brothers even hung up more on manhood. They're more aggressive and yeah, blah, 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 blah. But see, a lot of them won't tell you about that uncle who molested them, and they're fighting that thing now because they want to run away from it, and they find it hard to get close to other men in a righteous way, so they get close a little bit and run away from it or try to put that man down because there may be a resemblance to that man who molested them. Not in every case. It happens in America. It happens all over the world. But I miss the days when the elders can spot an issue and seek to help the person who has the issue instead of turning their face the other way to ignore it. Back in the day, as black people, in our communities, we were more self-healing than we are now. Now we play the game of every man for themselves. Every man for himself. I got mine, you gotta get yours. I got my big house and my car, you gotta get yours. You on your own. That's the way it is today. And it's so sad. Because I wasn't born 200 years ago. I wasn't born 100 years ago. But being 60 years old is another level of time that I've experienced to see where the trajectory of our society is going. Look at the banner here, y'all. These are men. They have testicles between their legs that can procreate with a woman and build empires, build great individuals from the child on up to adulthood. What the hell are you doing, man? Who enjoys seeing you this way? Your oppressor surely does, because you're no threat in this state. I miss the day, or rather I miss the days, when men, whatever they did behind closed doors, stayed there, but when they came outside, they were men. They looked out for the sisters.
So performative.
They were a plus to the community. I don't know if you threw lipstick on and a little makeup behind closed doors. You all know that man who never went around a woman, but when he came home from work on a Friday and saw the ice cream truck, he bought all the kids ice cream in front of their mothers. And they thanked him. And that other male friend that didn't look too aggressive, they walked up in their place and closed the doors. We kind of figured out what it was as adults, because they didn't come out until Monday morning when it was time for work and they were wearing different clothes. Maybe they didn't pull in their blinds and one of the neighbors saw actually what was going on, but we knew. But you need to be a man. And so many of our women are hurt that there are not as many full-blooded, full-blown men. No matter how you slice them. I'm not talking about a knife fight, but a man. Even if you're not involved with that man being in his presence has such an effect on you. And ladies, when you're a real lady, when you're a real caring woman with the feminine energy that you have or supposed to have, you are so powerful just being who you are.
Hold up. I'm not responsible for the happiness of another woman. And the fact that there are queer men out here that are willing to tell women the truth, something a lot of the heterosexual niggas are afraid to do. Because once again, they're not going to tell the woman what's really in their motherfucking head. They're going to play the game. So, just so I'm clear, are you saying that queer people who are open and honest with cisgendered females to let them know, hey, sis, we play on the same team, we like the same thing, that's somehow dishonoring her by telling her the truth. But yet when these men nut up in these women, I'm talking about ski up in these females, and now it's time, like you said, to bear the responsibility of this gift of a nut that you have been given to bestow upon this woman to create this child. Now there's no responsibility there. I'm sorry, there are women who are not going to settle for bullshit. Some. There are some who do, unfortunately, because they're like, damn, there's nothing to choose from. And maybe y'all should work on loving the heterosexual men that will be able to love you as a female in all the ways that you desire. But you ain't gonna try to push nobody to fulfill your goddamn desires of what you want. Because guess what? There are some things in life we just not gonna motherfucking get. And me pretending that I'm interested in women when I'm not is definitely one of those things that is not going to happen. I'm gonna tell women the truth so that she has the right to be able to decide what she wants to do next. And then on top of that, some of y'all better be glad that these gay men are gay, because if they were heterosexual, y'all niggas would have a lot of competition, and y'all ain't ready for that.
The female touch. And I don't mean to touch my loins. I mean just your presence, how it touches me, how it touches the world when you carry yourself with dignity, when you carry yourself upright, when you carry yourself speaking nothing but wisdom. You are so powerful. You will bring the biggest, strongest, baddest man that wants to do harm to you to his knees when he sees that you have that integrity and you're not just somebody's plaything. But we take joy in seeing our sisters this way. Now, these are not sisters on this picture, not a one of them, right? What is it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? That's about 7 feet of penis right there in front of you. Wow. Combined, if not more. But it's not designed for what they're portraying. They don't know their place, these men.
How do you know?
What happened?
How do you know?
If you took just as much time in raising and cultivating your family, not just feeding your seed with food, but sit down and tell them how the world is, because they're sponges and they can learn so much. But with your misdirected penis,
wow,
you'll understand and find out that there's no life in the next man's anus. What a waste. A lot of these brothers are probably brilliant. They may be a little hurt, had something traumatic happen to them, but there's a brilliance that could be there. And we have to look at the underlying.
What makes you think they're not walking out their brilliance? What makes you think they're not honoring their brilliance? They're honoring their brilliance, but not in a way that you believe or that you think. Have you sat down with every individual on that banner and did extensive research to know about their history, how they grew up? Did you watch interviews? Like, did you study to show yourself approved to be able to make such a generalized statement? Of course not. You don't know what happened in those people's lives, and just because you've had a few conversations with a few queer people that you felt comfortable with does not mean that it speaks for the entire queer community. And then when we try to talk about broadening the spectrum here to have conversations with queer people who don't fall victim to any of the ideology and bullshit that y'all have been taught to believe, now all of a sudden y'all have nothing to say. Now all of a sudden it has to be a demon or something spiritual now, something that you can't even tap into. Or it could simply just mean that there are queer people who naturally exist. It could also be that too. And that's why I say it's queer-phobia, because y'all are willing to believe everything else, but also don't want to believe that there are queer people who naturally exist. Like, if you're going to believe shit, believe all the shit, especially the shit that's being provided to you in this 3D reality where your 5 senses can understand what's going on here. And that's why I will continue to give commentary on your commentary and other black men who think the same way you do, because that mindset is dangerous. And if we're going to play that game of, oh, it's my opinion, then don't get mad when the queer people start playing the opinion game and play it a little bit better than y'all. You know why? Because not only do I have to be a black man, I am a black same gender loving man. So I have to work 3 times as hard. I don't think y'all want to play the oppression Olympics. I mean, we could, but that wouldn't solve anything. Because you do bring up a good point when you speak about healing. That's the most important thing. There needs to be a healing within blackness. But in order for healing to happen, the people that are supposed to be healed have to learn how to include themselves. And how can they include themselves when every aspect of what their reality is interpreted as something negative? And yes, Lance, you've been here for 60 years. We thank God for that. No shade. I don't wish death on nobody. I wish everybody a long life, because hell, I want one. And I understand the power of karma and your words and how the universe works. For the most part, at least my universe. But just because you're 60 years old does not mean you know everything. And when you open your mouth about queerness, there's nothing of wisdom there. In that regard, in that aspect, is what I'm telling you that you're failing at. So either you can continue to speak ignorantly, which it is your choice and your opinion, just like there will always be people who will give commentary on your stuff, or you could just simply like really educate yourself and really challenge your ego, especially if you're about community.
Hurt that we have all gone through. I miss the days when women and men can cry on the shoulders of their brothers and sisters and bring their problems and challenges to each other and try to figure it out in a self-healing kind of way.
I agree with that.
We're left alone now. We can't look to our sisters and brothers as much anymore now because we've been so cut off from each other. We don't have the unity. Almost sounds like immunity. Immunity from loneliness. Immunity from heartbreak, isolation. I believe that most of us now are walking around with sufficient levels enough of PTSD to have to get some type of therapy.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
It starts young.
Therapy is important.
There's a lot of hurt with us, y'all. There was a lot of hurt back then, but a lot of us understood how to deal with that hurt. And for the most part, we were there for each other. We knew our place. I miss the days when women and men knew their place. Boy, the way Glenn Miller played songs that made the hit parade. Guys like us, we had it made. Those were the days. And you knew who you were then. Girls were girls and men were men. Mister, we could use a man like Malcolm X again. Didn't need no welfare state. Everybody pulled his weight. G.R. Old LaSalle ran great. Those were the days. Now,
but in the words, I don't know who said it, but I'm just thinking of the version of Jennifer Hudson. It's a new day. Oh, I think it was what's her name? Famous pianist. What's her name? Damn, it's on the tip of my tongue. Nina Simone. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. It's a new life, and I'm feeling good. Everything comes to an end. That's a part of life. But just because things come to an end does not mean that there cannot be a new beginning. And like I said, everybody's going through an ego death. 2020 came through and fucked up humanity, gave humanity the fucking wake up call and the wake up check that it needed. And there are some people who are not going back to sleep again. And we need more people in the community, because there are some areas where I'm going to be weak at that somebody else is strong in, and vice versa, so that we don't have to do all of the work and be stressed the fuck out. But if we're really going to make a change, we're going to have to do something different, which means we can't do things like we did before, because they already banking on that. That's the point. They're not banking on us doing something different, being innovative, even though black people have been innovative and creative, and especially queer people, especially black queer people, who have been completely innovative, who have contributed to blackness, in the upliftment, in the evolving of blackness. But it's getting to a point to where even those who do contribute to blackness, it's not going to be swept under the rug. Like, no. Honor is going to be accepted, and honor is going to be given where it's due. So, this militant midget leprechaun, okay, is going to continue to give commentary on the queer-phobia within the black community. And y'all probably gonna be annoyed with me, but goddamn it, a lot of us was annoyed with y'all bullshit, and we survived. So y'all be all right. But did y'all die? Anyway, thank you for this impromptu live in reference to y'all being here and rocking with me. Shout out to Ron Mims, okay, the real Ron in the building. Shout out to Let's Talk Wild in the building. Shout out to those who were in the bushes, okay. Shout out to Lance too, because I know Lance watches as well, and Lance I think has my public information, because when he striked my video and I sent a response to it, I didn't know that it gives out my information. So there's a possibility that I could be doxxed, but I ain't worried about it, because it ain't gonna stop nothing. If you're talking bullshit, you're gonna be checked and challenged, just like how you talked about in the community back in the day when you were growing up. If there was some bullshit going on in the community, how the elders and the men would rise the fuck up and challenge that shit. Okay, then that's a community thing that we're gonna do across the board. Hello. And I'm still waiting for people to drop the link, because Black Men Unfiltered, they dropped the link. And don't worry, I'm going to do a live on them possibly tomorrow or later on today, because I haven't forgotten. When I was on that live with all them black people, girl, and I was prepared for helter skelter, I was prepared for the bullshit to pop off, girl. Had my motherfucking piece next to me just in case, girl. And how everybody, for the most part, was talking about, oh, community, we have to come together, or we have to do this. It's important to have these conversations, and, you know, whoop-de-whoop-de-woo, and all this other type of stuff. It's like y'all say that, but then y'all don't want to put in the work to continue those conversations. And there's only been one person who has come to my platform multiple times, okay? And that individual, well, I'm sorry, there was two. One is consistent, one came over. The first one, I forgot his name. He kind of remind me of Fred Hammond. Okay, I forgot his name. But he came over during my initial response to the whole gay agenda conversation on Black Men Unfiltered. And the only other person that came through that was consistent was Dr. Nakumbe, and shout out to him. I appreciate and honor heterosexual men, cisgendered heterosexual men who are confident in themselves and are willing to actually be a human being and not no falsified, rigid ass version of what they believe a man should be. But I'm going to keep my foot on the neck of the queer-phobia. So we're going to be doing a live later on today to where we're going to respond to their interpretation of what the gay agenda is. Despite having the queer people on the panel that you could talk to and have all of your questions answered, girl, straight from the horse's mouth, straight from the source, girl, y'all would rather sit up here and continue to believe y'all lies because it makes y'all feel comfortable. Well, y'all in for a treat, okay? But please, if you could, please like the video, okay? Because that helps this channel to grow in the algorithms, all right? I think let me check my subscribers count because it was at 768. It might have went down now, especially when we talking about this queer shit. Let's see. Where am I at? Oh no, I'm still at 768, okay? We was stuck at 757. Now we at 768. Okay, so we're growing slowly but surely. Hell, I'm 5'2", baby, and it didn't stop shit, so it ain't gonna stop shit on this channel. If you're liking the vibe here on BubzDaGawd, okay, regardless of wherever my content goes, because I can really talk about anything. I can definitely talk about anything and everything. Okay, that's just me. I just have the gift for that. Okay. Make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you can stay up to date with my lives and my videos as much as you can, because YouTube is only notifying a very small percentage of their subscribership or subscriber base. So only a few people are getting my alerts to my lives and my videos. So if you really want to stay in tune with me, please make sure you hit the notification bell and click all. And if you feel compelled, you can definitely bless a leprechaun in the Cash App. Okay, $ BubzDaGawd, Zelle, motherfucking PayPal. If you feel compelled and feel led by the spirit to do so, then go ahead and do that. Okay, but again, shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to those in the bushes, and shout out to LANCESCURV as well. We not hating on you, pimping. Trust me, there's nothing to hate on. I want you to understand there's nothing that you have that I could be jealous of or hating on, because I'm going to get what God has for me. I ain't trying to compare myself to nobody. The only motherfucker that BubzDaGawd is in competition with is BubzDaGawd. Amen? Amen. Okay? And until tonight, y'all. Peace.
Love never dies, just choose to be born again.
The home
no,
team things?
in no way. Ain't never been a representative for me, so speak for you, my brother.
Honey, I represent all the men here. Anyway.